And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas joining you this morning, and we are participating in National School Choice Week. Joining us now from the national office is Shelby Tankersley. Good morning, Shelby.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You, I understand, are the Manager of Communications and External Relations for National School Choice Week. Tell me, what does that mean? What have you been up to today?
Well, a lot of my job is making sure that people around the country know what's going on near them. There's so many exciting events taking place, more than 16,000 across the country, and so my main job is making sure that we're getting the word out about the great things people have planned so that everyone can attend and take advantage of National School Choice Week.
You probably have heard some really fun plans that have been taking place throughout the week. We've still got today and tomorrow. Tell us what has been happening this week.
Well, there's so many different things, and the cool part about National School Choice Week taking place nationwide is that these events kind of reflect the area that they're located in. So we'll see a flash mob at the Capitol in Phoenix, Arizona.
Fun.
And some snowball fights in places like Maine today. So really, you see a lot of different forms that this takes, but everything from small school open houses and pep rallies to invite neighborhood parents to come check out new schools to thousands and thousands of people marching in Montgomery, Alabama, to their state capitol to show their support for school choice in the state. It's really a huge scale of what's going on and a lot of really unique ideas taking place.
Well, it brings to mind, are states really doing enough to provide all children with opportunities to succeed in school? Why is school choice so important?
Well, we've certainly seen a huge advance in school choice opportunity in the last few decades in our country, but there's certainly room for improvement as well, and School Choice Week is a great time to take a look at what your state does offer. So many states offer now open enrollment policies or charter schools for a little bit more flexibility within the public school system. And school choice also includes things like tax deduction scholarships for private schools, the freedom to homeschool, and online academies. And about half the states in the country now have full-time statewide public online academies. And that's kind of a more cutting-edge school choice, but one that a lot of families think makes a lot of sense.
For a person who would like to send their children to private school, the opportunity to have tax dollars, which are their own dollars, paying taxes, given back to them to be able to choose which school, doesn't seem like that would have too many objections, and yes, it does. What are the objections for school choice?
So they vary a little bit. A big one that we hear is especially since a lot of private schools are religiously oriented, there is that question of separation of church and state that occasionally comes up. And that's settled different ways in different states, so it's hard to kind of speak about that on a blanket level because different states handle that in their own ways. But private school choice in a lot of states does include things like either transportation reimbursement or actual tuition reimbursement. But I think one of the more interesting innovations in private school choice recently has been the advent of education savings accounts, which are basically like a debit card that goes back to parents in a state like Nevada, which just passed this, which you can use for a variety of educational expenses, everything from tutors to a private school program or the bus fare it takes to get there. And as long as there aren't education expenses, that is just another piece of the payment puzzle for a parent and their educational options. And you can even use it to save for college.
What an interesting idea. Please explain, I didn't mean to interrupt, but please explain how that works. Do you start when the baby is born, start socking it away? How does that work exactly?
Well, so Nevada just passed this last year, so we're kind of still seeing it get worked out, and there's been some issues in the courts as far as injunctions go against it. So we'll see how that actually takes shape in daily life. But the idea behind it is that it offers the most flexibility. You can really customize what your child's getting. And so if you end up choosing a great public school near you, and you end up having money left over for that, you can use that to add on additional coursework or extracurriculars, say for college, or just take a couple classes at a community college. So it's really kind of unprecedented levels of flexibility with customizing your child's educational options, which I think is the future.
Wow, and it certainly does show a lot of forethought as far as all the different uses that you could make of that and the different stages of their educational development. When we're celebrating National School Choice Week, you're really talking about parents deciding what is the best educational experience for their children. Does that boil it down into a nutshell? Because you're not just talking about private school. You're talking about homeschooling as an option. You're talking about public homeschooling as an option and charter schools as an option. Can you address that? What all is involved in school choice, and remind us why this is something we should celebrate this week?
That's a great question, and I think oftentimes people associate school choice with leaving the traditional public school system, but I think that's a misnomer. I mean, traditional public schools in a lot of parts of the country are great educational options that parents have already chosen and will continue to choose for their children, regardless of the other opportunities available. So the traditional public school system will always be a robust part of school choice. But the idea behind school choice is to allow us to treat children as individuals, not just at a number at a certain point on the educational scale, but to look at the child individually and say, what is this child interested in? Do they respond well to a discussion-based classroom structure, or do they respond well to lectures? Do they have an interest in the arts? Would their time be well spent at a magnet school that focuses on that artistic ability and really place our children in the perfect, customized educational fit that will bring out their full potential? And that encompasses all the types of school choice we've talked about so far, the traditional public school, charter, magnet, online, homeschool, and private schools, and sometimes a combination of several of those. But as unique as children are, you need all of those options available to parents to make sure that each child is served in the right way for exactly who they are.
Some parents might argue that when we moved into a school system, that was our school choice. Correct? I mean, that might be what they're saying, but you're saying there's more questions to ask than that. Kind of two-part here. What other questions should a parent ask when deciding what's going to be best for their child, and should children have a say in it?
Well, I think children should definitely have a say in it, and I think National School Choice Week is a great time to sit down as a family and have a conversation about school next year. How is it going? Are they frustrated with things that are happening in the classroom, or are they excited about what they're doing every day? And if they're interested in making a change, I mean, the student should be able to be a part of the process of seeing what they're looking for in their next school choice. And parents really should be talking to other parents in their community and should be talking to the parents and teachers and administrators at the schools they're investigating, rather than just listening online or just having a meeting with one teacher. Doing something like going to an open house or a pep rally during something like National School Choice Week, you get to meet a broad swath of that school community, really will give you the best sense of what that would look like on a day-to-day basis for your child. And all of that should go into the decision-making of what's the best fit.
And then it certainly doesn't end as far as once you've chosen a school for your child, does it? At that point, then, parent involvement really kicks into high gear with that choice that you have made. You agree?
Oh, absolutely. And I think parental involvement is easier to get excited about if you're getting involved in a school that you hand-selected for your student, as opposed to just being involved in a school that you were told your child should attend. Once it's become a part of your identity and a decision that your family made together, I think that's a huge motivation for parents.
I'm looking at something that came out from your office saying that there's something like 15,000 events taking place this week. Can you give us a clue about what some of those are?
Sure. Yeah, there's actually 16,140 events taking place across the country.
Wow.
It's staggering. And those really take a lot of different shapes, but about 13,000 of them are school-based events. They're held by an individual school or a network of schools, doing something like a open house or a pep rally, an art contest, or a parent information night, and opening themselves up to the community and offering what they have at the school to parents who may or may not already be aware of them as a school choice option in the area. So that's a huge part of what happens during National School Choice Week, is just those community events at neighborhood schools to raise awareness among parents about what the options look like near them.
Is this a recruitment week for the coming up school year or primarily awareness?
It's primarily awareness. I mean, these events are independently planned, so some schools may take that tack with it, but for the most part, it really is an awareness and information gathering week.
We're speaking with Shelby Tankersley and, excuse me, I said that wrong, Tankersley, and she is the Manager of Communications and External Relations for National School Choice Week. Shelby, you sound like somebody who loves her job.
I absolutely do. It's a fantastic job, and it's 1 week out of the year where we see all of this hard work pay off, but it's really a wonderful opportunity to shine a spotlight on the great educators and passionate parents who are really investing in the next generation of our country and making sure that they're equipped to achieve their dreams.
That's beautifully said, and it truly is the culmination. This week is the culmination of all the hard work you do the rest of the year. Tell us what your days look like as Manager of Communications for School Choice Week.
So a lot of what we do is just take a look at the great events that schools have planned and try to help get the word out about them and, for instance, help distribute a press release that they've written or make sure that information is on our website. So a huge part of what I do is just talking directly with schools and organizations who are taking advantage of the week and asking them questions, trying to draw out what's exciting about their event and making sure that information gets told on a broad scale. So a lot of what I do is getting to work with these great groups, and that's probably why I enjoy what I do so much, because you really are talking to people who are making a difference.
Mm-hmm. For folks listening and they're wanting to know more information about school choice, particularly if there's some kind of action that can be taken as far as having more options available to our children and students here in Northeast Ohio and in our community, or just to get an idea of the excitement of what's all going on this week around the country, where can people go for more information?
Well, I would definitely say schoolchoiceweek.com is a great place to start, and there is a state-by-state breakdown there that kind of gives you some broad background on what is available in your state. And from within that, you can also find events near you. You can look by your zip code or your city, state, and find out what's going on in your area for School Choice Week. That's a great way to get started and to see who in your community is interested in this and working on this issue and get connected that way.
And I'm wondering, are the options available as well on schoolchoiceweek.com? Because some parents might not be aware of what all opportunities are available and open here in our community.
Absolutely. So we do break down from those 6 sectors of public, charter, magnet, private, online, and homeschool. We have a little bit of information on what's available in each state, and then we also have a partners page which can help connect you with organizations in a state like Ohio that have more specific information available. And those state-by-state organizations are the best source for information that really gets it down to the nitty-gritty of your local community.
That sounds great, and a great opportunity to perhaps meet with other parents as well and have your children get to interact with children who are already trying it out, see how they like it, and see if it would fit for them as well. Shelby, we can't thank you enough for joining us. We've been speaking with Shelby Tankersley, who is the Manager of Communications and External Relations for National School Choice Week. Enjoy the rest of the week.
I will. Thank you so much, and I hope you all get a chance to experience School Choice Week yourself in your community.
Well, we certainly will. I'm glad you brought that up, because we actually, after the break, are going to be speaking with Tana Watson, who is Director of Marketing and Admissions, and Charlotte Alton, who is the Administrator of Heritage Christian School right here in Stark County. And those are after these words. Please stay with us. You're listening to Our Community.